don't know how strong we are until we are faced, or shall I say, forced to bring that hidden strength forward. In times of tragedy, of necessity, people do amazing things. The human capacity for survival and renewal is awesome. As I have learned and realized through my experiences, we are actually stronger than we think. Sometimes people see a crisis differently. Some would just fall and not bounce back. However, as Jerry Flanagan would say, a crisis is a difficult and uncertain and dangerous time. To thrive during a crisis, you need to change your mindset to prepare for risk and minimize its impact. You do this by lowering your needs to the bare minimum and constantly evaluating the situation in case you need to quickly adjust the strategy. If you have a strategy, I say. Others are fortunate to find value in adversity. They don't just survive a crisis, they thrive after a crisis. And we want this for ourselves to overcome and to thrive. Welcome to Life Expressions. I'm Chari Hinete Elon. Today, I'll talk to a man who has been through a lot and has survived a lot of crises. In fact, I call him an overcomer. My guest has been a reporter all his life since the age of 19. He is a journalist by training in the Philippines and abroad and has worked in small and big newsrooms, including becoming the multimedia head of the prestigious Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, the premier investigative reporting outfit of the Philippines. A stroke survivor since 2015, he recently survived COVID. He now prefers to be called a storyteller. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Julius Mariveles. Hi, Julius.
Hi, Chari. Thanks for having me.
And I'm very glad to see you well and, shall I say, upbeat about your situation now that you have survived COVID. How's life so far?
First of all, I'm happy to see you getting younger.
Thank you.
Life so far is, well, of course, it's a continuing struggle to be better, to especially now to recover from COVID, which got me and my wife like 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's still that constant. I don't want to use the word struggle. It's that constant thing to be better, I should say.
Yes, that is good. We will talk more about that, Julius, but allow me to go back several years, like when you had a stroke, when you suffered a stroke, like how many years ago was that?
2015, that's about 6 years ago. And I don't know, you have this uncanny ability to bring me on air after a very serious event. In
I
2015, you
know,
were
right?
the first to do an interview with me a month after I had a stroke when I went back to Bacolod City, your hometown.
Yeah.
And now you are the first to do an interview with me after I had COVID. I don't know what's the third. I hope there's no third
I
time,
hope
Charlie.
there's no third anymore. And I would dare say that is because I'm very much updated with what's happening with you because we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. So you're my stalker, right?
Not necessarily, but at least I would
Thank.
want to really get the truth from the horse's mouth, not just on your
Oh,
posts, but I would like to see you thriving and you
thank
sharing
you.
the story of recovering, especially that you are a storyteller.
Thank you, Cherry.
Yes. So let's go back. Tell me about how you survived your stroke.
2015 was actually that year when things practically crumbled. I should say it was that year. I was moving. I was supposed to move to a giant television network as research head, and
Yes.
then the stroke happened, and so I had to pack my bags and go back to Bacolod City, and it was basically back to zero.
Yeah.
It was a humbling experience, and it was actually miraculous on my part, to say the least, to have survived that stroke. Uh, but then again, what can you do? You At first there was that much denial. There was much resentment and
Yeah.
anger,
Yeah.
even because I mean, you see people whom you have worked with and have been with and you thought were your friends and comrades turning their backs on you.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it's only family who will not abandon you.
That is true.
The family, especially of Hannah, was very, very helpful. In fact, my father-in-law went to Manila
Wow.
just to see me and tell me that no, you won't die soon. And that expression of support. So yeah, those are the things. I think I survived because number one of my wife.
Yeah.
Number two, I have to give credit to myself. It was grit and determination. I was not about to go out quietly
Hmm.
out of this world. I think I have to live. I owe it to myself and to my family, my wife, to keep on living, to keep on surviving. So yeah, that's it. And I realized that what's important, you know, I've been through trainings about trauma, and it is said that in order for you to cope with trauma, you have to have number one, intellect. It's very important. Number two, resources. And number three, you have to have a social network. And four, of course, the affirmation that what you are doing is good and right. So those were concepts to me at first. But when the stroke happened, I began to realize you need those things.
True.
You have to rationalize why you are alive, why you had a stroke. You have to come to terms.
Yes.
You have to forgive yourself. And second, you have to have resources. Of course, without resources, you cannot survive. You cannot
Correct.
undergo physical therapy or things like that. You cannot have maintenance medicines. And what is very important above all, I think, is the social network, the support,
Yeah.
which I think we need right now amid COVID because we have to have psychosocial support. That's very limited right now. And but then my experience with stroke told me that it's actually that very small circle of friends. Uh, I began to believe Jordan Peterson, by the way, who is Canadian,
Yeah.
one of my favorite philosophers, the Pareto Principle.
Yeah.
20%. It's only 20% that will determine the outcome. And so I
True.
believe that you only have a small group of people who will actually help you.
Yeah.
And that's very, very important. We need that 20%, however small, for us to recover from tragedies like, in my case, the stroke. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm still alive.
That is good. Could you tell me how you were able to survive, how you were able to recover from stroke? You have mentioned, of course, your wife, Hannah, your family, your in laws. You said you have the resources and especially the grit. You have mentioned you owe it to yourself because you wanted to live. Why did you say, oh, is it mind over matter? Is it because you wanted to live that you were able to live or survive the
Uh,
stroke?
it was only much later when I began listening to Jordan Peterson,
Yeah.
when I realized that you have to, number one, accept that there is much malevolence in the world. It's not a very beautiful place to live in. It's not an oyster for us to, you know, for us to catch. And then I was actually determined to prevent my life from getting to the level of hell,
Yes.
because that's what Jordan Peterson said, which I knew only recently. And I believe that you have to get up. I mean, in my case, literally stand up
Correct.
and say, I don't want my life to get worse than this. It's already bad. So you have to decide to not make it much worse than what you are experiencing right now.
Yes.
So it's like that.
For how many months were you not able to walk, Julius?
Oh my God. Let's say half a year.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember the first time Ed Lingao,
Mm.
who is my former colleague, had to go to my apartment 2 weeks after the stroke because and he had to rig something. So it was
Yes.
like a parachute cord.
Hmm.
Uh, he had to fix it on the wall so I can use it to stand up.
Yeah.
And then eventually, with the help of a cane, I was able to walk. But it was really difficult. It was like, I think, I don't want to exaggerate things. Let's say not really 6 months. Let's say 3 months.
Yes.
It was difficult. It was difficult. You know me. I am a field person.
True. Yeah.
I am used to the field. We look for stories in the field. It was difficult. I cannot walk.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did you
it was
also
like that.
undergo depression during that time?
Hmm. I would say I was trained to do peer support for journalists facing stress and trauma. I should say the signs were there, but it was undiagnosed. So I would not say that I did have depression because it was undiagnosed. I can say that I had trauma
Yeah.
after the stroke.
Yeah.
The signs were there. It
Yeah.
was difficult to sleep. I was really resentful. I was angry to a point, irritable, those classic
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, I should say I was on the verge of a depression. And that's the most I can say.
Yeah. At what point in your life did you say, okay, I am going to recover? And then you have realized, yes, indeed, you were recovering.
Oh, that's an interesting point because sometimes you would say I will proceed with my life after I make a full recovery.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. Like I kept my hair long. I did not have a haircut
Hmm.
after the stroke
Hmm.
because in my mind I was saying I will have a haircut after I make a full recovery. It doesn't happen
Hmm.
because recovery is a continuing thing.
Yes.
I can say that I'm not fully recovered because you cannot really go back to that 100% unless your case is a transient ischemic attack. But in
Hmm.
my case, it was a massive stroke. You cannot say that you can go back 100%.
Yeah.
You cannot compare yourself before the stroke. What you can do is to compare yourself right after the stroke and where you are now.
And now you could say that you're definitely better and doing the things that you needed to do.
Oh, sure. One
Very
thing,
good.
before I cannot stand, I cannot walk on my own without a cane. Now I can walk without a cane. I can stand up. I can do things for myself. I can dress myself. I can cook.
Yeah.
I can eat on my own. So, I mean, you can urinate and you can make poo on your own. So, those are
Yeah.
things to be
And your
happy
mind
about.
is and your mind is as sharp as ever,
Oh,
which
sure.
is good. By the way, for those who are watching right now, Julius is in his office at DNX and he needs to wear the mask to, for protection, correct? Because there's five of you there in the office and
Yes.
just to be sure you keep your mask on even if you're in front of the camera and we're doing this virtually. Anyways, Julius, how did you get your life back?
I'm still getting it back, actually. Well, as I've said, you have to make that decision. Getting my life back was not a choice, but a matter of necessity. I mean, what else can you do? Uh, I cannot linger in that storied past. I have to move on
Yes.
because if you cannot get your life back, moving on means getting your life back,
Yeah.
picking up the pieces, trying to reconstruct whatever is left,
Yeah.
trying to rekindle that flame of hope,
Mhm.
whatever little is left flickering.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think I'm doing right
Yeah.
now.
And what year was DNX established?
Oh, that is fun. 2019, months before the pandemic.
Yeah.
August 2019. Yeah. DNX opened its doors. It's a very small office here in Bacolod City, Philippines in mid-August 2019. It was a decision to, well, okay, I never thought that there would be a pandemic. There was only like, how many of us? Four
Yeah.
of us.
Yes.
So yeah, August 2019.
August 2019. Tell us first about this idea of yours because DNX is an online news platform, right? So tell me, okay, I remember when I interviewed you for Excel Time when I was still in Bacolod, you asked me about this idea and I said, sure, that's an absolutely great idea. Go ahead, tell me about it.
Oh, well, daya ka. You actually know about this because
Yeah.
the first person I told about this idea, I shared this idea to, aside from my wife, of course, was you.
Oh,
It
wow.
was
Thank you.
it was after that interview. Remember,
Yes.
I actually mentioned it on air, and then
Yes.
you told me, "Oh, don't talk about it. Others will hear."
And follow
So
suit.
that, yeah, yeah. But you were not mistaken. You were not mistaken. Aside from us, there are other online platforms right now, which is good. competition is always good.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's
The
still
free
better to
market
get ahead.
economy.
That's why I gave you that opportunity. Go ahead, do it first. It's still best to be first.
Oh, after that interview, when you told me, okay, do it, I became quite serious. You know me, I have
Yeah,
a lot of ideas. And the problem sometimes with minds that are very active is that you are not really determined put to put it into practice.
yeah,
So after that interview, I actually spent time under a mango tree. That mango tree is still there outside our home. Uh, it is not ours, but it belongs to the neighborhood. So
yeah.
I would spend time there writing. In fact, my notes are still at home
Okay.
about the NX. So I
Yes.
conceptualized. I thought very hard about the NX. And so long and short of it, it's here now.
Yeah. And I'm very happy for you. I see how fast you have grown, the
Oh,
number
thank
of your followers and your subscribers, and the content, of course, I should say, is very good. So, congratulations on that.
thank you, Miss Cherry.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And how has it continued to inspire you and make your life better with DNX?
Journalism was or is the only thing I know how to do. You take me away from journalism and storytelling, I don't know what to do. I tried cooking. I'm a good cook, by the way.
I know.
I tried home cooking, selling pork products, pork recipes. It was good, but at the end of the day, there was a lack of satisfaction.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, Journalists are so used to the adrenaline rush.
True.
Every
That,
day we beat
yes.
deadlines. Every day we look for stories. We look for conflict. And so the adrenaline rushes every time.
Yeah.
I think I'm an adrenaline junkie and I kind of search for that adrenaline rush.
Mhm. Yeah.
But no. That would be too oversimplifying things. It's not only about the chemical reaction; it's about the purpose and content. As I've said, for you to recover from a traumatic incident, you have to find reaffirmation that what you are doing is good. DNX is, in a way, part of that healing process,
That's good. Yes. Yeah.
part of
And
that
then,
recovery.
yeah, part of that recovery. So, fast forward, you were still very busy with DNX. COVID-19 happened. And just recently, you had COVID. Tell me about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I was still young, Hannah and I, we used to think that we will die in a very dramatic way. I always thought that I want to die in a hail of bullets,
Oh, okay.
or dying on the field as a journalist, or when I was an activist, dying on the field, allowing my comrades to escape while I was facing a hail of bullets. Very
Now that's
romantic,
dramatic. Okay.
dramatic. But that shit, I'm sorry to use the term, flew out of the window when I
Yeah.
had COVID. I was in bed, and then I was thinking, I'm not supposed to die like this.
Mhm.
I'm not supposed to die on my back. But there you have it. There you have it. You have COVID. So what do?
Yeah.
You stop thinking about the drama and then you focus on recovering.
Yeah. What happened
I think
first? Tell me, how did you know that you had COVID?
I think this is actually only speculation because there's no medical proof about this. But we suspect that Hannah got it first.
Okay.
From where we don't know, we have speculations. But I think she got it first, and then I was still continuing to work.
Mhm.
And then one day, her cough was really, really bad.
Mhm.
Uh, it sounded like something else. It was
Mhm.
not the usual allergic cough or whatever, the ordinary cough. And then it sounded really bad. And then the fever came, and then the body pains. And so I think she had it first, like about 2, 3 days ahead of me. And then naturally, because I'm the husband, I got infected.
Yeah.
And then it was really difficult because you have to admit that you have COVID and that you need help.
Yes.
Because I think for 1 or 2 days, I refused to admit that it could be something worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I continued to work,
Yeah.
which was rather difficult. And then after 1 or 2 days, I realized that I am not doing anything good because I'm putting even my staff
Yeah.
at risk.
Correct.
And then you begin to think about the possibility of dying because several months ago there were four local reporters who died here.
Yeah.
Rushmore, two broadcasters, three broadcasters, and one writer. And so I began to think very seriously. Oh my, I gonna be the fifth? There, we decided to stay at home and then seek the help of a doctor. And then our doctor, a woman by the way, was really very good.
Mm-hmm.
She came, I think, a week after, or I mean, a day after I asked her to come.
Yeah.
And then we were put on antibiotics and a lot of things. And then we got swabbed.
Okay.
And then I think a day or two later, the results came out. We were positive.
Mm-hmm.
Our house was put on lockdown. There was a sign,
Yeah.
and I felt like a celebrity waving inside.
There
Oh,
was it colored yellow?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I was like waving,
Okay.
waving.
Oh my.
I was sunning myself in the morning, and so
Yeah.
neighbors were passing by. Oh, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm COVID.
So
No,
bad.
no, no, no.
At least you could still find humor in your situation then.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
You know me. You know me.
Yes.
But the support was great, really
Yeah.
great. I mean, Hannah and I would joke. A week after we got well,
Mhm.
we said we can actually open a mini grocery
That's good.
because of the
A
help.
lot of wow, a lot of
A
support.
lot.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
seriously, we had to throw fruits
Oh,
because they
because you
kept
had too
coming
much.
in.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can't give it to others because it's
No.
contaminated already. Yeah. You might have touched it and all, right?
Yes.
But apart from the support that you got, apart from the food that you were given by your friends and relatives and supporters, what did you do? Like, how did you recover? Because I should say you are blessed enough to be able to recover while others didn't.
We were fortunate enough because our symptoms were mild to moderate.
Mhm.
So in my case, I had a bad, not really a bad hacking cough or
Mhm.
continuously coughing, a bit of a fever, very slight joint pains. Basically, it was like vacation with antibiotics.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is also part of that recovery process because
Mhm.
for us being in the house just
Yeah.
alone
Mhm.
is good for us.
Yeah.
It gives us a break. Uh, of course, I don't have to put into details what we're doing,
Of
Cherry.
course. Both of you got it and you can do whatever you want.
No, but a
Mhm.
week later,
Okay.
the doctor came and she said, okay, she told Hannah, okay, I think you have to wear a face mask when you're sleeping. And then Hannah said, why?
Why? Okay.
Because you might get infected by Julius because she got healed first. The pneumonia came away earlier for Hannah. I mean, she got well first. So
Okay.
the chances of being reinfected by me was there.
Okay.
It was the pneumonia actually that was very, very frightening.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine was bilateral pneumonia, meaning my lungs, both my lungs
Yeah,
were,
both.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the doctor said the crackling sounds were very, very pronounced,
Yeah.
which indicated a very bad infection.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got oxygen into our home, and yeah, uh, we were not confined in a hospital or an
Yeah.
isolation center,
Yeah. How long
which,
did
by
you
the way,
recover? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
could have been worse, could have
Yeah.
made things worse if
If you were
we
in the
were in the
hospital.
hospital. I surmise. It took us about 2 weeks.
Hmm. Hmm.
2 weeks to be officially declared as well,
Hmm.
but we isolated it was our decision to isolate for another week
Okay.
because we knew that after that 2 weeks our defenses were low,
Yes.
so we had to like stay in the house again.
Yeah. So
We were
after
enjoying that vacation.
so after 2 weeks, you had COVID test and it turned out negative.
We were advised not to take the test anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So you didn't get the test.
not anymore.
Okay. How did you
What
know?
we
How?
got
Yeah.
was a vaccination.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you get vaccinated?
I think a week after.
Mm-hmm.
A week after
Mm-hmm.
the 2 weeks.
Yes.
No, a week after the 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Julius, I'm very glad that you and Hannah have recovered from COVID. And you could say that, yes, COVID is real. Everyone should really be careful.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Yes.
And it's
You,
very dangerous.
yeah. You
Oh, by the
wouldn't.
way,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I mean, I love our doctor
Yeah.
because when she came 2 weeks after,
What's the name of your doctor?
uh, I don't know if she wants
Okay.
to be known,
Mentioned.
but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But here's what happened. After we were a bit well, she
Mm-hmm.
came for the last consult. That was like 2 weeks after the
Yeah.
diagnosis that we were COVID positive, and she told me, "Had you taken treatment a day or two later, you might have been dead."
Oh,
And I was like, oh my," and that was when the real anxiety started.
yeah.
Because Chari,
Yes.
I escaped death once.
Yeah, I know.
Now, don't tell me I cheated it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that was when the fear started.
Yeah.
And then, of course, along with that fear is that sense of gratitude that
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God is not done with you yet. You still have a purpose here.
I hope so.
Yes. Julius, I have also noticed that in the past, most of your posts are really about not, shall I say, ranting, seeing a lot of negative in the world, a lot of people, etc. But now it has shifted a bit. What has changed?
It was after the stroke. Very complicated. My life is very complicated. I used to be identified with a certain ideological group, and
Yeah.
after the stroke, I decided, no, okay, okay, okay. I have to chart my life on my own, on
Yeah.
my own. And so it was the realization that it's not all that bad. I mean, after recovering from the stroke, I realized that I survived. So I should enjoy myself. I should enjoy my life. You
Yeah.
know, the teenage years is, some theorists would say, characterized by a sense of moral indignation. That's
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
if you're in the 20s. But Chari, I'm now
Yes.
46.
Yes.
So it was like that realization. I mean,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
I've said, you have to make use of your brain, of your
Mhm.
mind to
Yeah.
recover something. And then I realized I'm not doing anything really, really fantastic with my life. So I have to enjoy it. I have to
Mhm.
make up for lost time with Hannah, my
Yes.
wife.
Yeah.
And so I started to smell the flowers along the way.
That's
I
wonderful.
was like grim and determined at first. You know me, I was very serious. I
Yeah.
was angry. I wanted to change the world. And then I realized I have to change myself first.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. And are you in the process of doing that?
Of course, of course, of course. It
Yes.
would be a continuing thing until I die, I would
Yes.
suppose.
Yes. Julius, your story is a nice story of overcoming a crisis. If there's one major lesson that you have learned and would like to share with our viewers and listeners, what would that be?
The very important thing is to have a clear mindset. You have to decide where you are located and what do you intend to do.
Yeah,
Because if you don't have that conscious decision to do something with your life, nothing's gonna happen.
that is true. So, what's next for Julius Mariveles?
Oh well, I'm planning something special in the next 2 years. I'll let you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should be the first to interview you after the next 2 years then.
Of course, done deal.
No, I've just secured my exclusive one on one.
I want to do something about stroke actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
Oh,
advocacy about stroke.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
will let you know after the interview.
All right. So, Julius, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And of
Harry, the
course,
pleasure was mine.
yeah,
The
thank you
pleasure
for
was mine.
granting this interview. Well,
Anytime.
yes, crises are a fact of life. We all encounter them. What's important is how we deal with them and how we overcome the crisis. When you're presented with an obstacle or a crisis, step back for a moment and try to see how you can survive, thrive, and turn it into your advantage. Thank you so much to my guest, Julius Mariveles, and thank you so much for listening. I'm Chari Hineta Elon. This is Life Expressions. If you like this episode, please share and download. You can also put it as your status when you share it. Of course, we can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, and this is also streamed on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Thank you so much. Till next time, here on Life Expressions. Julius, thank you.
Thank you, Jen.